Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Rob Bennett joins us. He's Executive Secretary-Treasurer of the Building and Construction Trades Council of Northern Nevada. Here for the whole show on all new Nevada Newsmakers.
My whole life has been public service. It's about people. And when we work together instead of yelling at each other, we get things done. We don't always get everything we want, but that's our system of government. Give and take. We don't give up, we keep working, we keep pushing. And when we break ground on Nevada's first children's hospital, when crime rates come down, and when graduation rates improve, that motivates me. That's why I do it.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're pleased to welcome back to the program Rob Bennett, who is the Executive Secretary-Treasurer of the Building and Construction Trades Council of Northern Nevada. Do I have that correct?
Yes, you do.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you back on the program, sir.
Oh, it's great to be back.
So the reason I wanted to invite you here was this moratorium that's being in discussion right now with the Reno City Council. As we are taping this, they're about to have a meeting this morning, so we don't have the results of that meeting yet. But it's in published information. It says that they're looking at a moratorium through the end of this year at least on data centers. And my immediate thought of that and thinking of you was, we're talking about thousands of construction jobs connected to the data center industry, and that a moratorium would just be the worst signal possible. What are your thoughts, and what did you think when you first heard this?
Well, my first thoughts, I think this sends the wrong message to companies wanting to move here. It basically is, are we closed for business? I think it sends a message not just for Reno, but the region as a whole. I know, going back 20 years to 2006, we're in the middle of a boom. Everybody was working, but then we had the Great Recession. And in construction in Nevada was really a Great Depression. We saw 2/3 of our construction workforce wiped out. We went from 150,000 workers construction workers at the time to down to 50. I personally, I spent about a year out of work, and I was like one of the lucky ones because I was able to weather through those years. But through the diversification we've had over the years in our region, we are coming out of this better suited for the next, recession, whatever, economic, downturn, whatever we're going to have. And a lot of this too started, I think a lot of people forget, started with the Apple data center when, then Governor Sandoval, was able to work out a deal to bring them here and actually open up a data center, which led to other things, then, after that put us on the map. And, Tesla came in and that was a huge, huge win for us. So we've just continually been, diversifying our economy. But now all of a sudden we're going to tell a whole industry, whoa, stop, we don't want you. I just think that sends a really bad message.
And I remember during the Great Recession, I was talking to the general manager of one of the casino properties in Sparks. And he said to me that he had this huge population of construction workers that would come to the casino and gamble. And all of a sudden, they stopped coming.
Yep.
And he actually knew where they lived, a lot of them lived, and he went to the apartment complexes. They had all left town.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, construction workers go where the work is. So they're not just going to stick around and wait it out. If you have a moratorium, they're going to be gone.
Yeah, exactly. If the work stops, I mean, right now, this country nationally, if, the only thing that's really keeping us out of a recession right now is, this conversation around data centers, AI, and then, what's going to power them. That's what's keeping our members going and our economy as a whole going. Right now, here locally, I think EDON reported that 70% of the construction right now in Northern Nevada is coming from data centers and the lithium loop. That's a huge chunk of the work. And to say, no, we don't want you, and lose those construction jobs, I mean, it has farther reach than just construction. Because our members, I mean, they're well paid, and we always like to say, small business's best friend is a worker with a fat wallet and time off to spend it, right? If you lose those high skilled, high paid jobs and they go somewhere else, you don't have that money going back into the economy. You don't have those workers paying the taxes that are funding our schools, that are funding our parks, funding our local municipalities, funding the state. We don't have that. We personally, we don't want to see that happen. We want to see, as much business coming here as we can support, and to make sure that those projects are being built by Nevadan construction workers.
The money circling through the economy is such an important deal. As you say, your workers are highly paid like miners are.
Mm-hmm.
And when they go out and buy things, they go out and spend a lot of money. So you're talking about people being able to buy houses. You're talking about people being able to buy automobiles, furniture. I mean, it's not just cash out going to construction workers. It's cash circling through the economy. And when you look at all the local budgets, whether it's Reno, Sparks, Washoe County, or even across Southern Nevada, everybody's facing deficits going forward. And so the idea that you would take something like this, which has huge upfront benefit with the construction work, then replacement of servers, 3 to 5 years, has to be done, which is millions of dollars. That money circulating through the economy is just so important.
Yeah, and a lot of people want to say that that once the data centers are built, there's no more jobs, which isn't necessarily true. The workers that are going to be working on those, working in those facilities, those are high-paying jobs. But then you also have all the maintenance. I mean, you have our members going back in to perform maintenance on electrical, HVAC systems. Just any other building issues maintenance issues they might have. Like you said, you have those servers. I mean, we all know everybody has a cell phone, and you have to replace it, every couple of years, or it's going to be out of date. That's the same thing with these server farms. They're gonna we're gonna be generating revenue from the replacement of all those servers every couple of years. And the amount of money that they're bringing into the local economy through taxes, even after what they receive in abatements from the state, we're talking millions of dollars that are coming into local governments that are much needed. And we're just going to say, no, we don't want that. It just boggles my mind, really.
Okay, so let's talk about the 3 issues that come up the most. and from your perspective, the resolutions of those issues. One is water.
Yep.
One is who pays for the power, and the third is potential noise.
Yeah, I mean, we come down to the data center conversation, we're not saying that, you know, we don't need to put guardrails around these projects, or we don't need to make sure that the, you know, taxpayers are protected. We're not saying any of that. We also agree that, you know, we need to put guardrails on these projects. I think a lot of the issues around water we're seeing, you know, when the data centers first started being built, they were using more evaporative cooling, but since then they've moved to closed loop systems.
They banned it in Southern Nevada.
Yeah, they've moved to closed loop systems where, you know, you fill them up once and that's it. There's still some evaporative cooling, but also a lot of people forget that we had an issue with our sewer effluent a couple of years back, and one of the creative solutions they've found was to build that effluent pipeline out to TRI and use it out there, because it can't go back into the Truckee. If it goes back into the Truckee, then you know, it could cause serious issues for Pyramid Lake. And
well, it would also cause a serious cost issue for people living in this area, because to replace that sewer plant would be $1 billion upgrade.
Correct.
And that would be, you know, taken care of by the residents. So anything that can be done to stave that off for as long as possible. And that was a $100 million project by the time it was all done, that was funded in part by Story County, but also by the businesses out there. And you're right, that gray water is recirculating and not being pumped down to Pyramid Lake.
Right. So there are, you know, it's not, when you look at water use, you can't just look at, you know, one aspect, right? But we need to, you know, if it makes people feel more comfortable, you know, let's set up some guardrails around water use.
But not a moratorium.
But not a moratorium. I don't think we need a moratorium, because I think we just need to get everybody in a room and figure out, you know, let's get everybody in a room, figure out, you know, what the true issues are, what the facts are, because I know there's a lot of information going around that is not true. Let's sit down and make data-based decisions on how to make this industry work.
Okay, so what are the things? Let's clear some of these things up. What are the things that are being said that aren't true?
Well, water use, one. A lot of these facilities are going to closed loop systems using effluent. So, you know, the water use is, you know, a data center that is being built in someplace like Georgia is totally different than a data center that's being built here in Nevada. They're using different types of methods. I would say also on the power issue, I mean, they are, you know, they are required to pay for their power.
So probably it won't be on the backs of the ratepayers.
It shouldn't be on the backs of the ratepayers. If we need to put that in right, you know, if we need to spell that out better, then, you know, let's do that. You know, the issues with, you know, like they're not creating, you know, long-term jobs or like some kind of drain on the economy. We totally disagree with that. They are creating, you know, high-paid jobs. We've already talked about, you know, the maintenance issues and then replacement of servers. But also too, you know, let's look at the flip side where, you know, once they're built, they're not necessarily putting a big strain on our roads, on our infrastructure, because, you know, they do operate with, you know, smaller crews. And we're not having to, so we're not, you know, it's not putting as big a strain on our infrastructure, but they're generating a lot of tax revenue, much needed revenue for our local municipalities, which I don't think we can ignore that fact.
Well, only unless you want to pay more in taxes to be able to live here.
Right.
Okay, there's been discussion about noise issues connected to these data centers, but I drive by Switch out in Story County, and I don't hear a bunch of noise. If there is a noise issue, can it be mitigated fairly easily?
Yeah, I mean, you can admit anything you would like to. One of the things we find fascinating, actually, our office is right down the street from the Keystone data center that has become now the poster child for why we shouldn't have data centers. Interesting fact, that data center is being built, it is being built between the train trench, so right on the railroad tracks on one side, and then on the other side of it, you have another data center that has been operating there for the past 11 years that nobody even knows about. So if you can have this data center that everybody's up in arms about is being built right next door to a data center that has been there for 11 years that nobody knows, how big of an issue are some of these things?
And I think that we need to have a massive public relations campaign across the state, because you've got Boulder City, wanting to no more data centers or not have any data centers. But Boulder City has always been kind of an outlier for a lot of things. No gambling there either, which is kind of unusual for Nevada. But I think that getting the real information out to the public is so important. Let's take a break and we'll come back much more on this after we take this time out.
Aaron Ford's high-flying travel has caught the attention of nonpartisan investigators on the Nevada Ethics Commission. Ethics officials are examining $35,000 in luxury trips taken by Ford, largely paid for by corporations his office regulates. The investigation also includes allegations Ford leveraged his position for personal gain, accepted gifts, and improperly used government resources. High-flying Aaron Ford. Luxury travel, special interest perks, too much baggage to be governor.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Rob Benna. He is the Executive Secretary-Treasurer of the Building and Construction Trades Council of Northern Nevada. Talk to me about the scale of some of these projects.
Oh, the everything being built. I mean, so data centers can vary in size. You can have small ones, like the one on Keystone is probably a little bit larger one. But I mean, some of these data centers that are here in town, I mean, they could be like 10,000 square foot. But then you have out on USA Parkway, just the data centers that are just massive. I mean, we're talking billions and billions of dollars in investment, billions of dollars that it's flowing into our local economy, into this state. The numbers are just truly mind-boggling when you have, data centers that are supporting, on our side, thousands of workers, 3,000-4,000 workers possibly. The numbers get to be mind-blowing. Tract, who just had their groundbreaking last week or the week before, they said that this initial phase is going to be $40 billion in investment.
40 billion.
40 billion. That's billion with the B, and could be up to, if they keep continue, it could reach 100 billion.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the head of the company said on this program about a year or so ago, was that he saw a potential build out there of $100 billion. Also, we should point out that that's an industrial park, and so therefore it's not, being affected by this potential moratorium. Story County will be very happy to keep on, building more and more of these.
Yeah.
What about, because we've had folks from the Nevada Builders Alliance on the program in the past talking about this, getting more people working in the industry. It's a different industry than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, it is definitely different. Construction has continued to change. We are, the amount of technology is not just hitting other industries, it's also hitting ours. You're looking at, moving into AI, instead of having somebody out there with a set of paper prints looking at the job site, now everybody's walking around on tablets, with 3D modeling where they can look. So, construction has become high tech. And because of all this, we've been able to recruit more people into the industry. Back, when Tesla came, a lot of people wanted to focus on, the long-term manufacturing jobs. I was out there, telling people that, if we can't build it, they can't come. We need to also focus on workers for the construction industry. These are high-paid, high-skilled jobs. If you go through one of our apprenticeship programs, the training is free. You can go, 4 or 5 years of training, all accredited through local community colleges. So, we are not a alternative to college. We are college.
Right.
You are getting college credit as you are going through these programs. So the amount of investment these companies are making are providing, pathways for a lot of individuals, a pathway into the middle class.
Right, because at the end of the 5 or 7 years of an apprenticeship, you don't have a debt.
No.
As against perhaps a college education where you have, if you're going to be a doctor or whomever, you may have a fortune in debt that has to be worked off. I remember when Joe Heck was a congressman, he was still paying off his student debt as a doctor. I mean, that was incredible. So it's an amazing career. Tell me about AI and how AI is affecting the industry, because it really has changed things.
Yeah, it's not really affecting, the workers on the ground that are actually installing stuff yet. You're starting to see AI move into construction. You're starting to see AI move into, the design side, the engineering side of things. But at the end of the day, the great thing about construction, our jobs won't be replaced for quite a while. You still have to have somebody, when your sewer line breaks, you still have to have somebody, a plumber physically come out to your house, and dig up the pipe and replace the pipe. AI is not going to do that for you.
Well, and also, I mean, the reality is that even though some jobs will be replaced, others will be created to support the jobs that have gone away. And if you go back and look at the Industrial Revolution, you can see how that occurred, but it also occurred in things like the banking industry 30 years ago or so when ATMs came out. And the banking industry was so excited that they didn't take vacations and they didn't have time off and sick leave and all the rest of it. But you go to a bank, it's still full of people.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jobs get replaced. Let's take another break. We'll come right back after this.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. Our community is our foundation. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Hear ye, hear ye! All hail the $75,000 Cash is King giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Rule the kingdom with cash giveaways every Thursday and Saturday. And live royally with up to $10,000 in winnings every week. Eat, play, win! Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
At Nevada Urban Indians in Reno, your health is our priority. Our medical clinic welcomes everyone. We accept all insurances, ensuring quality care is within reach. Nevada Urban Indians, your partners in health.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. and on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Rob Benner, who's the Executive Secretary-Treasurer of the Building and Construction Trades Council of Northern Nevada. So your final thoughts here. If you had a chance, and you do because you go to these meetings, but to talk to the council people, the county commissioners across the state, what do you want to say to them about these data centers?
What I've been saying is that moratoriums are bad. We can't, that's just sending a message saying we're closed for business. We don't want to do that. For us who have been around in Nevada for a long time, no, that's not good for our economy, for our state. What we need to do, we need to get everybody together and discuss what the real issues are, lay out what the facts are and not what all the misinformation around data centers are, and get everybody to a point where people are comfortable with this industry or any other industry moving into town that people might have questions. I think a lot of this could be solved by just people sitting down and having conversations and figuring out what kind of guardrails we need to put in place.
And that's where we have to leave it. Rob Benner, welcome back anytime.
Yeah, okay, awesome.
Thank you, and we'll be right back.
Stack up the wins during Carson Valley Inn's Summer Toys and Big Cash giveaways. Cash drops every Thursday and Saturday with over 450 winners. Plus, win a new side-by-side or $12,000 in cash at each event. Free wheels, free play, and bigger thrills. Only at Carson Valley Inn.
2025 is bringing big changes for Nevada businesses. If you have more than 5 employees and have been operating for 3 years or more, you must now comply with new state retirement plan mandates. The Vegas Chamber 401k plan makes it easy, offering a proven, customizable, and cost-effective plan for employers and employees to save with tax advantages. Visit vegaschamber.com to explore options and see how the Vegas Chamber can help you start saving for your future.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
We're the Peters family, 2 combat veterans, our daughter Elle, and our Liberty Dogs puppy in training, Cooper.
Cooper will grow up to be a life-changing companion to a veteran with visible or invisible challenges.
We're helping Cooper build focus and confidence so he's ready to support his veteran.
And we know he will help bring happiness and independence to his veteran's life.
So join us, become a puppy raiser, and change lives, one puppy at a time.
On our website, NevadaNewsmakers.com, you can find shows going back all the way to 2002. Use the search box to see Nevada history. We'll see you on the next broadcast.